Welcome out, ladies and gentlemen, to this Recharge Gaming League RGL.GG Week 5 matchup of Velocity Esports versus Froyotech. And tonight is going to be undoubtedly the best match of the season so far, as the two giants of RGL are going to be clashing on the battlefield of Badwater. And this is a pretty big one because the winner of tonight's match will have a guaranteed spot into the grand finals, meaning that they will win a minimum prize of $800 out of the $3,000 prize pool. I am sigafoo with Nisel behind the scenes, and eXtine next to me. How you doing out here, eXtine?
Yeah, doing fantastic, man. Banging some projects out, crossing things off lists, and now here casting some RGL. So really excited to see this match. Badwater should be a grand old time, and definitely two amazing teams on hand tonight.
And let's just jump straight away as the teams are getting started with the pick ban process. And so you can see here, ever since the Pyro update, all the Pyro weapons are available to be used or banned or however you want to do it. And we are playing, again, Badwater. So you can see here, early out, Froyotech taking down the Wrangler, taking down the Tatasha. Pain Train, interestingly enough, is being banned first by Velocity, followed by the Razorback.
I think that's a really smart ban against the Pain Train, because you know that Froyo has some soldier star power, and so if the soldier as well as the demo are able to add that ×2 on the cart, that really frees up a lot of other players, because having the ×3 is super important. It's also not really the ideal location for your scout to just be stuck on the cart pushing it all the time.
Yeah, and now the Cloak and Dagger going down, so Froyotech trying to take a little bit of time away from Vipa, the Spy. Vipa tends to play a lot of Spy. And actually, Velocity is the one who's banning the Short Circuit, which is, I guess it wouldn't be interesting because Velocity doesn't play a lot of Engineer. But you can see here, Velocity then saving the Lateranger for their Spy to be able to use, and then banning, obviously, saving the direct hit. So, they can make sure they can take down their Engineer. But in some ways, I think that helps Velocity because Froyotech is the one who runs out a lot of Engineer. Velocity almost never runs an Engineer.
Interesting. Definitely looking forward to seeing that then. Very used to Engineer on this map. Pretty Boy's pocket pistol then being banned out by Velocity. A pretty popular scout weapon these days, and certainly the deathmatch repertoire of Froyotech well known, so any hindrance there going to be helpful. Froyotech then banning the Girardi, which is, widely received as a cheesy, very strong weapon in the Sixes community, so that bleed over there, not wanting to have their demo man's ability to bomb hindered by that Girardi. Critical band coming out on the other side, also a really strong weapon, particularly in the hands of strong deathmatch scouts. And then Fist of Steel coming out from Froyotech, which certainly is one of the cheesier heavy melee weapons out there.
Yeah, Froyotech's bans kind of seem to be a little bit all over the place. Usually they do a lot of bans against Engineer, but again, with the Velocity Esports, they're not running a lot of Engineer. Ultimately, it's kind of interesting to see where they go. Obviously, taking down the Girardi, taking down the Fist of Steel, as you said. Carl, Fist of Steel can be incredibly powerful for an offensive heavy on payload maps, being able to sit behind the cart. The Criticola being taken out. One interesting thing is that Banny has liked to use the bonk in the past. Now, it did get nerfed slightly, but it would still seem to be usable to me. So I'm kind of curious to see, with the Criticola going down, even when the Criticola has been allowed, it hasn't been used very much. So I'm kind of curious if maybe they could have found something better to ban, and if maybe that final spot. I guess I'll be kind of curious to see what kind of unlocks they use.
Yeah, that's definitely always a interesting distinction there, of how well a team is able to, bend the will of the item list to their strategies. And Froyotech, some decent choices going out in different directions, and sets the field up pretty nicely here. Definitely, Velocity is going to be having a little bit more experience with this stopwatch format, and there's some large changes to the tempo that you're forced to play. Whether it's 5 CP or King of the Hill or payload here.
Yeah, and the one thing too is that just kind of I want to focus on one item too. Is we talked about this last week. Is Velocity did ban the Razorback? They banned it again, and it's kind of one of these things that people talking about, like the Razorback. It's kind of fair now, but it's really important when you're going up against a sniper such as Boar. We can kind of talk about the different rosters. Snipe Boar, one of the best snipers in the game. Velocity Esports, like, we need to do whatever we can to take down this sniper. Like, this is what we need to do. We need to take down the sniper, and we need to do it now. And so giving that a little bit more to their team, because I wouldn't be surprised if Vipa was doing any work whatsoever against board that he tosses on the Razorback. Because, really, what are the options that he would have? The Girardi's gone, so it's like, I guess maybe the Cozy Camper, but I guess now that's kind of the question of, are you going to run SMG or Cozy Camper? Probably Cozy Camper to get a little bit of that boost against that knockback. But I honestly, I like bans overall. I think both teams had really good banning. Usually Froyotech, I feel like, wins the banning phase. Banning tends to be pretty smart about what he does, but Velocity really seems to be picking it up with that.
Yeah, they've picked out some good weapons from Froyo, and we're going to get just straight down to it pretty shortly here. And Badwater, just a super classic map, but again, it's just that question of whether the payload strats are really nailed down by Froyotech, if they're going to end up getting locked down in some of these corners or points of the map that can be hard to push through if defenses get settled. Or if they're just going to be able to steamroll through because they're excellent deathmatchers. But we have seen with Ascent Gaming that they were having issues, in this sevens format here. So, definitely some interesting things to watch here. And Froyo, with their kind of slightly changed roster from kind of traditional, they've been making some adjustments, but still so much strength on their team. They have Banny, Eric, Habib, Sai, Cookie Jake, Boar, and Blaze.
Some fantastic players in the Froyotech side. I mean, honestly, pretty much any one of those players, and we say this every week, every time that we cast Froyotech, it's like they're all so good. I think maybe the weakest link on there is Sai has been a little bit underperforming this season. But, let's kind of go through the list here really quick. Banny, I mean, there's really not much to be said. He's just dominant. He consistently is top damaging for his team. Usually it's the demo top damaging, but Banny, he's the one making it his way in the front. Eric, who typically is playing the flex role between Engineer, Spy, and Pyro. So most of the other classes do not switch very much on Froyotech. They run only as one flex class, and Eric, honestly, in my opinion, is the best. He's so good, and the thing is a lot of the other flex classes, they become from Spy mains, and so they're just not quite as well versed at playing Pyro at Engineer, whereas Eric, he gets how to play it.
Yeah, and that's really important, the flexibility of your players to be able to go between Engineer, Pyro, Scout, if it's open, and really bring the flexibility of Prolander. We saw it the other week again with Ascent versus Velocity, where Ascent was kind of struggling to hit that, and they seemed really predictable with their lineup, not able to make good adjustments on the fly as needed. And with the Velocity Esports team, I've talked a lot about their Highlander experience. Jarrett and Carl really bringing that for sure. Both those players just been around forever. But also Vipa, you've talked about his spy skills, and I know I've played against him a few times and watched a bunch of his games. He's just absolutely brutal on spy. It definitely might be able to bring some things in those regards that Froyotech hasn't seen. They've surely played against a lot of great snipers, but Andrew is definitely one of the best right now, and how he performs tonight will certainly be an important thing.
Yeah, and actually I just got a word from Banny that it sounds like Habib is not going to be playing for Froyo tonight. He's not, apparently he's the MIA, so they're going to be bringing in Slemnish, who's no slouch himself, but that does leave Froyo with not having a really strong demo main. Sai, again, he's played demo. He's not bad at it, but in comparison to the other demos in the league, he just doesn't seem to stack up. If you look at his stats, he just never really gets that top damage mark. He doesn't get the frags. Like, he's just kind of like an average demo. And when you're coming against the best team in the league in an incredibly important match, we'll see if that hurts them. Slemnish did play in the grand finals versus DK, or now known as Velocity, and did incredibly well on the sniper class. But I'm kind of curious to see what kind of what they'll do with shuffling, what they'll do with Slemnish then filling in for Habib. But kind of going back to, I guess, you can go from there.
Well, yeah, just to comment on that topic in particular a little bit more. I wonder if they would run Banny on demo possibly, and then put Slemnish on Scout. Banny definitely familiar with Highlander demo tactics.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's actually a really good point. They very well might do that just because Banny is more familiar with that. So, I mean, and kind of looking over at we talked about Velocity Esports, kind of some of the different players. One of the other players I don't believe you mentioned, but I've been really a big fan of his playstyle is Shamu, who has really been kind of sneaky good this season. If you kind of look through the stats so far, he's really been consistent for his team, top fragging for them, always generally being in the top 3, top 4. He's not kind of like, but it's not a player you really know. But I mean, when you're going up against a team of Freyotech, you're going up against Banny. I really do think that he's going to be able to hold his own. Maybe not win, the 1v1s at a 50% ratio, but at least to be able to be good enough to be able to do that. But we can kind of talk a little bit. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, I was gonna.
Yeah, it comes down a lot more than just the death match. It's the engagements that you're taking and your positioning around the map, and definitely. I've stressed it a fair amount already, but there are very, very large differences between stopwatch format and 5CP or King of the Hill, and just that you can't run forward and die in certain circumstances, and other circumstances, when you can, do that kind of suicide wave sort of mentality, then it's really a good time to do it, and you need to make sure that you take care of that. And just kind of the synergy overall with the team. Carl was a big reason that Velocity had the easy win over Ascent the other week, and I think that he and his performance on heavy weapons guys again going to be something to keep a really close eye on.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see how well. I mean, Carl is he's so good. Like, I kind of said this in the article I wrote, is that he's kind of cocky. You can see him sometimes spamming into chat, being a little bit rude. But I mean, the dude, he's got the skills. Like, he's there, he's kind of talking some trash, and he's got the skills to back it up. That's the one thing, when we were watching the Ascent versus Velocity game on Asheville, the Koth map, Carl was doing a fantastic job at shutting down any jumpers that were coming towards his medic. He was just always just all over it, doing a really good job. And we'll kind of see if that works out for them. Freyotech on this map has actually played surprisingly well. They did lose this map way back in the Challenge Cup about a year ago, but last season they played. This was the first week match that they played actually against DK, coincidentally, and they looked pretty good. I mean, Freyotech seems to be like, they always have that like good amount of aggression. They seem to have that coordination down. The biggest thing that they tend to struggle with when it comes to payload maps is sometimes they forget about the objective. That tends to be the thing that works against them.
Yeah, and that's pretty important. And I mean, again, to talk about the kind of 6s 5CP mentality, versus Highlander, whatever. I think that we also saw some of that last week again in that Ascent versus Velocity match, where I really felt like Ascent wasn't playing the objective enough, that they were just trying to win fights, and particularly with their kind of support classes, they actually weren't getting on the point and putting time on the point, so the frags, if you get a bunch of frags but you're not pushing the cart all the way, and you just don't get the same amount of progress as you should, and then you're still trying to fight forward, you actually can like really give the opponent the opportunity to reset and resettle. So that can make a really big difference if you're not taking advantage of the opportunities to push when you can.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
sorry, go ahead, Siga.
Well, I was going to say, it's like, to that point, it's really about making sure, as we should be going live. I know they're live in real time, so we should be going live here in just a second into setup time. But to that point is like, that's what a lot of teams, and this actually, I saw something when Slemnish was playing on Feint Gaming last season. He was playing Scout, and the biggest problem with him on Scout is that he thinks about Scout in terms of 6s, about getting forward, about trying to do damage. And he actually lost a game on Upward, not necessarily him, but overall his team, but he was a problem with it because he kept running forward away from the cart when they needed to be pushing it. He was trying to take fights rather than trying to focus the objective, and I think it was kind of smart for Velocity to ban the pain train out the gate, for the reason that now Freyotech can't use anybody else but the Scout to get that ×2 on the cart.
Yeah, definitely. And to just double back on it, since we were discussing it, looks like Banny is staying on the Scout with Sai going on the Demo Man. And that forces Slemnish into a heavy weapons guy. And we were singing Carl's praises earlier, and I definitely think that match is one that is probably going to go in Velocity's favor of heavy weapons guy versus heavy weapons guy. But it will be determined how much of a factor that plays in this match.
Yeah, we'll see what that does for them. And just a reminder, this is the Week 5 match, the final week in the regular season. Velocity Esports is currently sitting in first place by literally just a very tiny percentage with the way our point system works. And so they're right up there. You can see Vipa is on the engineer class, not playing spy, which is actually playing spy on the first point isn't that beneficial to his team. So I think it makes sense also having that teleport up. And so he's going to have this sentry gun in this little crevice starting out on the rocks, which it can help with bombers, but it tends to be a little bit too slow. Froyotech's Eric, who's their flex roll, he's coming out on spy to help out his team early on. Slemnish sitting onto the cart as Blaze is going double bomb, side from behind.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, what beautiful coordination coming out from the team. And they were not expecting that. The gun wasn't ready enough, and they didn't have a Pyro to air blast that back. Beautiful coordination coming out of Froyotech early on here to take the 100% advantage.
You got to feel like that was a call from Eric on the spy, too. Saw that the gun wasn't in the normal spot. Gave Blaze more of a time to come in here. Ubercharge is popped out here. Banny and Sai going to be able to take out that sentry gun. Jarrett goes down as well. Still some players up top here, but Ski's going down again. And Velocity already having some problems here. Marmalou jumping out the gates. He's actually going to be able to get a kill on Sai. No, never mind. I take it back. Sai extremely ripped, but I don't think anybody else is going to be coming through that teleporter as the rest of the forward players cleaned up here. Blaze actually just going to keep an eye on that teleporter and maybe tempt somebody through it. No. Yeah. Okay, finally done.
They did take down Cookie Jake as well as they were leaving, so that allowed Skis to just get a very slight advantage. Eric is currently sitting at Velocity spawn, and he might get caught out. He didn't get anybody. He's literally completely behind the enemy team, and he can't open up the gate himself, so he's going to have to either sneak through, or he's going to be just completely not into this moment. Vipa has now switched on to Pyro away from Engineer, which I'm not sure if that's the best, because level 3 Engineer on that final point, but look at this. Cookie Chick, he's opening it. Oh!
That was
so close.
And Vipa smelled him.
Yeah, Vipa's in a very odd spot right now. I don't know how he's going to be able to help his team from there.
Boar was in a great spot, sniping from the rift. Did get Marmalou, but then shut down by the rotating Pyro, who does get the reflect kill on Blaze. So great stuff by Velocity. Have been able to kind of reset themselves on the second point. Vipa going down, that's 15 seconds, and Froyo is fully up with 85%. Velocity going to try to take the roof here as Banny gets on the cart, sees that nobody is there, sees that everybody must be on roof. Banny's going to go down, though. Froyo's trying to rotate up there.
This positioning out of Carl, he was playing lower. I think he actually should continue to play lower to defend that cart. But I guess it doesn't really matter as you have everybody from Froyotech literally trying to come out through that little area. They're going to take down the sniper here early on as Uber's going to be coming out. It's going to be an exchange as Cookie Jake pops a little bit later. Uber's going to be a little bit better for the blue side as they're going to lose their demo. Carl is going to try to get a frag here, but he's ultimately going to probably trade his life. Here comes the Marmalou getting some damage down. Cookie Jake surfs away onto the other roof, going down incredibly low, but keeping his life. He would have died if he fell all the way to the ground. Banny is down incredibly low, able to reconnect back up with the medic, but Skis gets taken out from Banny on the somebody else on the rotation, the soldier, and Cookie Jake down incredibly low, but able to keep his life. Nice job of Froyotech protecting the medic, but still did not push the cart, so losing a couple seconds there as people will have a chance to come out that gate, but Jared has to be careful from getting caught out.
Yeah, that was a really good long fight from Froyotech. Sai going down to Andrew as he was killing Jarrett, though, but in that circumstance, losing the defensive demo man, bit more of a problem. Boar going to be trying to snipe across into house. Andrew has jumped down, and starting to get out here. There goes Andrew, actually taken out by Boar.
They do at least, Shimu does take down Boar, so they don't have to worry about the sniper for a little while on Velocity. And Banny is also, I believe he's still running bonks. I'm wondering how much he'll use that maybe on this point. And actually, now the Pyro is coming out from Eric using the, what is that weapon? The Scorch Shot to be able to just kind of do random damage to the enemy team. And here comes out the Ubercharge. Vipa doing a good job stuffing it.
Yeah, I think they are still going to get enough space from this Ubercharge, though, to be able to work closer up to the corner. We'll see if Velocity comes out. They have 90% right now. Eric getting up there, though, up top, so they're going to be able to kind of bring a little bit of flank pressure and make them scared that he's going to drop down. Medic is pretty low. That kind of forces them into an Uber of sorts here. They're also just trying to clear the card off. Jarrett gets Cookie Jake and Boar. Banny lurking around with that bonk, and Skis is going to back up. They have left Marmalou. The scout is out here. Banny trying to get in, trying to get kills, but taken out. Carl falling back is going to get healed up as Blaze coming in here. Sai puts some forward pressure as well. Eric coming in with that Dragon's Fury and getting some work done right on top of Skis. It is just him and Skis. And, Skis, good dodges.
Wow, beautiful job by Skis. Keep himself alive. That's also going to give them a slight advantage in terms of nothing to really push off on, but at least keep Gemetic that much more that they might be able to try to push back this final point.
Oh. How quickly it fades away as Boar snipes him down from across the way. They were just getting a little bit stretched out there and really feeling the pressure of Froyotech up in their face. Blaze getting, well, actually Boar is the one that finishes him off, but they get rid of Andrew. Still more pressure, but nobody on the cart, you know, so again, it's about the clock at the end of the day.
Yeah, finally they are getting some time back on it. Still continuing to pick up frags as Marmalou and Skis going up through the map room as Banny is starting to push the cart. 10-second respawn waves for a couple of the players as Marmalou's at least spamming the cart to slow them down from pushing it. 4 minutes and 32 seconds is a very fast time as that was a very questionable bomb by Marmalou.
Yeah.
Skis gets taken out by a headshot, but Marmalou, I mean, you got to know the 5 players are there. There's no way you're going to get a successful bomb in. Jarrett's going to go behind, does at least pick up Boar, but he's going to get taken out from Eric coming from behind. The cart's going to continue to roll forward as the frags slowly mount up in the favor of Froyotech. That's a complete wipe as they push the cart down into the tunnel. 5 minutes and 59 seconds. That's going to be a tough one to match.
I was feeling that defensive hold until that bomb by Marmalou. I think that was a little overextension there because he had good angle from the map room. Could have just continued to hammer down there, wait for a few more players, but it just kind of started feeding one at a time there. There were some good moments of defense there from Velocity, but mainly in the kind of sense of like bouncing back from disasters, not making them seem too disastrous because there was just a lot of tough moments there. But, you know, 6 minutes could have actually probably been faster.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would have liked to see Vipa go back to Engineer after the first point. I don't think the Pyro was doing that much work. And the other thing right now is just looking at the first half stats. I pulled up the logs. Banny with 14 frags. The closest person on the server is at 7. Sai actually making me eat my words as he's top fragging behind him. But still, Banny is really the one who's putting the team on his back, doing absolute work, and he's just a menace. I mean, a sentry gun does shut down the scout. If you have a level 3 up, he's not going to be able to do anything.
Yeah, I think they just kind of got that momentum going against them, and it never really seemed like the right time to try to switch to Engineer. But also, whatever class he was playing didn't get a lot of work done. Vipa getting right on top of the gun right now, though. As Spy, he's creeped in, got clear vision, sees that Cookie J is way back there. They get a double stab on Sai and Slemnish. Gun has gone down as well. Marmalou getting pushed back. Boar getting the snipe kill on him. And Velocity pushing the card up, but everybody else is dead. So they got to make sure to keep Skis safe. Shamu actually has to back out. Should maybe just go out there, though, now that he's escorted Skis safely. Just try to push the card a little bit more, but...
And you can also see that Froyotech was not running their medic up on Cliffside, which is a little bit easier to do a suicide wave into because, well, you don't have a lot of places to run. They're playing them back by Garage, so they had a chance to dodge. And here comes in the bomb in. Vipa is just a little bit discoordinated, but they do get the force off onto it. And so Shamu's going to slowly work this cart forward, but the cart is already not even through the end of the tunnel yet. And that's actually due to Blaze, who's just constantly harassing it. But right now, Froyotech's the one who's being harassed, and they're starting to fall back.
Yeah, Shamu very weak, so he's got to rotate around. He's trying to get an arrow or something up top and then try to get back on the cart. Especially with Vipa now back by the corner and fighting going on. Vipa's going to bump into people, expose himself, but Froyo is getting pushed back, and the first point is going to go the way of Velocity here.
Yeah, they're finally going to be able to do this. 4 minutes and 23 seconds on the clock. Or just about to be, as they're going to take this across the point. Eric's getting set up on this second point. They're going to have Ubercharge ready, and this usually you can't hold the second point very well. Pushing from lower is actually not the craziest idea if you can get that cart working. Boar is going to get popped up in the air. They're trying to focus him down, but they take down the soldier. Vipa is going to go for the finishing kill. Yes, he does get it, as they're just going to go straight for the cart here. Take down the sentry gun. Yes, they do. And if they do this successfully, they might force the enemy team to have to drop down onto it. Oh, but from behind...
Yeah, instead, Blaze going for that wraparound play. Good bomb there. Good damage on skis. Not quite enough, and Froyo not sending anybody else in there to commit to it. Now they drop Slemnish down, but Velocity have sort of backed up. They have 4 strong players here. They're medic with 3 of their core classes. Pushing in now with Sticky. Sully jumped in as well. Uber has been popped here. Chasing out Cookie Jake. He does go down. Medic throwing up way high in the air. Velocity are keeping their players up. Blaze trying to follow with a big bomb as well. Comes in, but goes down. Boar getting a kill on Vipa as the point get captured. Does get Marmalou as well. So Boar continues to do hella work on the sniper.
Yeah, we'll see if he can keep it up, but this point goes down in 3 minutes left on the clock. This is very possible. But again, having that engineer just makes it one more thing that you do have to deal with, and the third point can be pretty hard to deal with the engineer, though currently it's in a very passive position. The big thing when it comes to pushing this third point is taking control of the top left area on offense, because if you don't take control of that, it's going to be a little bit harder. Vipa going in for the stab, takes down Boar, as well as Blaze going down. That's 2 early picks, and they're going to be down for quite a while, 12 and 19 seconds, as Marmalou is getting himself into position. This is allowing Jarrett to push up because he doesn't have to worry about the sniper. Another frag's coming out, only 2 players left alive right now, as this dry push is Skis is coming up to 100%. They have huge advantage here, going all the way in, diving in for him. Not able to secure the kill onto Cookie Jake, going down to 60 HP, 2 minutes and 22 seconds left on the clock, and Velocity has their pedal to the metal.
That was a very smart bomb from Jarrett. He's already respawned. Great timers. And they have 2 minutes with the cart at the top of the ramp. Marmalou going for a flank here coming up top. And Boar actually going out the other door. That would have been fortunate for him. Vipa just hiding behind, has a really good vision on everything. He's going to... he just grabbed the medal right in front of everybody, but they didn't see him. Gets the stab on Eric and the sap.
And that might just be enough to push off of, as Carl's starting to work up to the cart. Boar had to drop down so he can't snipe onto the people, onto the cart directly, but the contesting is coming out. Froyotech doing a great job focusing damage. The soldier's going to bomb in, but he's not going to be able to do this, as Cookie Jake did a good job dodging behind. A minute 37 is definitely can push this cart. It only takes probably about 30 seconds to push it from that angle, but they got to do it successfully, and Froyotech is now just getting incredibly aggressive. They're starting to rehold the third point. They're going to make Velocity just take back third before they can push on the last, as Eric is getting essentially set up in map room of all places.
Yeah, and Skis pushed so far back, they have an Uber, but basically if they could have used it 20 seconds ago, they could have maybe had 2 Ubers. They've been pushed so far back. Boar going down, that's pretty important. That really helps your ability to just walk around this corner if you know that there's no sniper who can just one-shot you down. They're getting the stickies out there, starting to pressure. They have to work this slowly. Boar's going to be up in 5 seconds.
The question is how much work will that sentry gun do inside a map room? Oh my god.
Got the stab on Psy. That sentry gun is kind of taking people down away, but it's really far removed.
Blaze is going to go for a play from behind. The overcharge for the red side is just that much better. Benny is eating a lot of damage, but able to keep his life. Finally goes down, but here comes Eric as well as Blaze. Coming from behind, Shamu is trying to do everything he can, dances for his life, but ultimately gets taken out. 30 seconds left. Medic is down for Skis, but Cookie Jake's not going to have an overcharge to try to defend this right now. And we'll see what they want to do, as Vipa's getting himself ready. He might be able to try to sneak a little bit of time onto the cart. He's going to do just that, as Sai is putting in a trap. He's going to get killed. Oh, that's incredibly unfortunate. And yeah, with 7 seconds left on the clock, there's no chance for Velocity to be able to do this.
Yeah, they're streaming for it right now, but the clock's going to hit 0. And that's going to do it for that first set. But honestly, that was really good and really exciting, really entertaining. And Velocity made that a lot closer than the first portion of that set might have led everybody to believe it was going to be.
I mean, honestly, Velocity, it was their game. It was their game to lose at the end there. With 2 minutes to push into that final point.
Yeah.
The final point is incredibly hard to push into, but it seemed like their aggression, they were so eager to be able to push into it, that they just didn't catch their breath and go, okay, let's just get a coordinated push.
Yeah.
You know, because the big thing you want to do when pushing into last is you want to maintain high ground while you push in. And then the other thing is that Wiethoofd was constantly sending in flank players to wrap around during the pushes. So they were able to kind of secure that. But if they, you know, the thing I would say to Velocity is leave Carl in the upper area. Don't put him on cart. Don't put him with your medic. Leave him in upper and just let him spam down. The heavy is incredibly powerful nowadays. So we'll see what's going to happen as they instant readied up into this next round. And real quick at the stats, Banny picked up 7 more frags after that first round, so a lot less muted on the defense, which is kind of surprising. 21 frags, followed by Boar, who doubled the frags of Andrew at 20-10. Andrew only having 10 frags, so we need to see Andrew step up, I think, if his team's going to have a chance.
Yeah, definitely. He just needs to make sure that he can, you know, check Boar. There's a lot of situations where, you know, Andrew's maybe killing Boar right before he goes down, but it's a situation where, you know, he's on defense and not having a sniper is more harmful for them. We'll see how aggressively Froyo gets out of the gates here.
And right now, also the other thing, this is kind of unusual. Wiethoofd, so the away team, which the Wiethoofd is, they get to choose in the second round where do they want to start defense or offense. As they get the bomb in here, Sly coming in, and he gets the force. Ooh. But Ski's, he doesn't even have any damage done against him. That must be having flashbacks to last round because that was a really bad pop. But just to kind of go back to that, so Wiethoofd likes to push. They like to be on offense starting out, which is not traditional. And but they're popping it right now. And here comes a Vapor Charge from Banny, but nice job by Skis. He needs to run right now. Shimu needs to get him out. They need to hook up. Here comes in Blaze. And Skis gets a little bit caught in on the side. Should be able to escape with his life. And they might have a chance to hold second here as Vipa is back on the Pyro class. I don't know. I didn't feel like he did a lot last round. I would like to see him at least go Engineer or Spy. I think that'd be better than what he's currently doing on Pyro.
Yeah, I think that exchange too is kind of one of those weird ones where it's like when you're on Cliff as Pyro and they run around the corner with Uber exchange, like all you're gonna do is like push them back towards the cart. You know, they kind of got into the side of him, and he just like wasn't able to like push him off the cliff or something really helpful. Boar in a great place, going to snipe across the house here. Ends up taking out Marmalou. Now he's going to get called out, and Velocity is just going to drop down. Boar being very helpful in that. And Vipa was on the Spy and hasn't been able to get down the rails, though, so he's just keeping an eye on the cart. Maybe got eyes on the rotation of Wiethoofd. They're going to be able to go from down low, take the roof from the backside. Let's get a stab on Slemnish.
Setting himself up to get maybe one more. He's getting bumped by something, I think. Here comes the decloak out. Here comes out the Uber charge. It's going to be much better, obviously, as Velocity doesn't have theirs yet. Ski's only at 90%, backing all the way up to third, but Banny is in pursuit, trying to run back, but again, Shimu is there to keep his medic alive. Banny and Cookie Jack are really committed right now. Cookie Jack actually went down to half HP, and Shimu's going to lead the charge to try to kill him as he's going all the way down. Cookie Jack going down to 42 HP, but able to get connected back up. Vipa is still behind the enemy team, way back there, so he might be able to do something. Looks like he's going to avoid the cart and go for the combo classes and get himself into position, and this actually might be really good because I don't think Cookie Jake's looking for it.
Oh, good follow-up by Shamu and Marmalou. Boar, though, going to be able to get an easy kill on Carl. Jericho's down as well. So they got a kill on Banny, but at the same time, the numbers are favoring the offense for sure. Ski is very low health. He has to run all the way back. Now Shamu has to flee as well. And, you know, Vipa definitely having some struggles. I mean, all of Velocity obviously kind of struggling a little bit here. But Vipa just wasted so much time on that second defense being Spy. He got like 1 frag total and was just Spy through that whole third defense. Definitely, sometimes it's unlucky where you just wait, and as soon as you go, somebody turns around. But, you know, still, you just got to try to find an impact one way or the other.
I mean, now he's playing flank Pyro. Gonna try to go to Slemnish, gets taken out here, but now he's down for 19 seconds. This is where I think, you know, if you put up a sentry gun, even if it doesn't do anything really, it does at least make the other team have to deal with it. That's why Eric consistently goes it, is you have to deal with the sentry gun when you go in. Also, for these bombs, you have something else to try to protect your meta. Jerick's gonna get caught out here, and Carl now going down incredibly low. Only 4 players left alive here for the defense. Marmalou is gonna go for a flank play, but Andrew does get a kill onto Cookie Jake. And that's exactly what they needed to try to hold off this a little bit longer. Pyro goes down in the upper area. Band's going to drop down on the medic. Probably going to get the force off here. He does.
Yeah.
But honestly, it's pretty much a free pop. They pop this and Cookie Jake's back alive. By the time this gets done, they're going to be even Ubers, so Froyotech's not going to get any advantage out of getting that force, besides that they can do a dry push if they want to. But look at this, Blaze is currently behind the enemy team, and I don't think they realize it.
Yeah, that's going to be a great spot for Blaze if he can come down and get some surprise here. Indeed, he does. Okay, I was going to say, please don't miss that kill on skis. Blaze actually doing hello. Okay, I thought he was going to pick up a third kill on Jarrett, but either way, so much work done. Marmalou, I don't know about that one. Should have maybe just waited a little bit longer and tried to just bomb in on Cookie Jake, because he was definitely a little too far forward. Froyo just surging now. Spawn's coming out for velocity, but Sai right in their face, going to be able to stuff them. Forces them out the other door. And meanwhile, the cart is pushing, and Carl goes down to Slimnish and Banny in combination. Banny just jumping all over the place.
Shamu at least picks up 3 frags on the flank. He came from behind, takes down Cookie Jake as well. It's 4v4 right now. Let's actually make that 2v4. And yeah, with this heavy onto the cart, Marmalou's going to try to do his best, but he's not going to be able to do enough in 5 minutes and 10 seconds. As Froyotech just rolled their way through here, as the heavy on top of the cart is a hard thing to stop. But once again, I have to be questioning the choices of this. Marmalou, I think he's just getting a little bit overly aggressive, currently only sitting with 5 frags. I think his timing of his runs, because the thing when it comes to when you're playing a payload defensive soldier, your job isn't to make bombs. Like, that's the exact opposite of what you want to do. Your job is to harass and stay alive and harass and harass and harass, because they actually stopped Froyotech from pushing the cart. Marmalou did, because he just kept spamming the cart. But then what did he do 10 seconds later in the first round? He went for a bomb into 5 players. This isn't 5CP. This isn't 6s. You're not a roamer. Learn how to defend the cart. You need to do that. You should have more than 5 points, because Soldier's incredibly powerful when you have a lot of generalist classes you're playing against.
Yeah, the value of your life as well. You know, that's something in Prolander that's real interesting. Sometimes that situation, you know, if your soldier goes down, you just don't have enough spam to really fight them with the rest of your players, because you just have a demo man. So that's the only other source of explosions. And those explosive classes are really good at keeping people away from doorways. Boar's just going to start it off with a headshot to Marmalou. One more main point as we get started. You know, we talked a lot about Vipa and his struggles, but on the other hand, he's you know, the second place fragger on his class on the scoreboard. So if he's not getting points and he's having problems and he's on 3rd place, that tells you something. A great defense by Froyo there, protecting Boar as Vipa was trying to come in for the stab.
And I'm looking really good as Eric's being very creative with his sentry placements. That's, I mean, one of the things he does. Blaze, again, just this is, again, Blaze is understanding how to place. He's not going in. What is he doing? He's literally just spamming the cart, and Shamu can't push it because Blaze is just passively spamming the cart. They're literally stopping in the middle of the tunnel because of that. He's not trying to go for big plays, and the bomb does come in. Nice job there. Out of velocity, picks up a frag as well as the force off. Sai's going to go all the way in.
Wow.
But not able to get the force off on the skis as he was back into spawn. And so that should allow velocity here to push forward. They were able to get momentum before Boar goes down, and so that's going to allow velocity to get very aggressive here. The sentry gun is up inside of the little door there, and it only peaks when a red team stands next to it. Blaze should get taken out here, does, and we'll see if that sentry gun will do any more work. Banny getting taken out as well. Wow. Marmalou in a 4K there with the direct hit. Great job, as this gun's going to get shown as soon as it gets up in air. Has an exit on the first point still. I wonder if they're going to do anything creative with that.
Yeah, that's kind of what's kind of sneaky, but he's switched classes, so that'll destroy that. And Boar getting a SMG kill on Vipa. Blaze pushing forward as well, trying to get some sort of action by skis, and then jumps out. Andrew with the headshot on Slemnish, so that's a really good pickup for velocity. They've lost Carl though, and now their Uber charge has been pressured out as well. Blaze in an awkward spot, but this Uber is being split like 3 ways. They can get a kill on Cookie Jake soon here. This will be in their benefit. Cookie Jake half health, Marmalou, or half Uber charge. Marmalou was getting some good work with that direct hit, but Velocity's still pretty banged up. Banny, oh my god, gets meleeed down by Andrew in the inside of the building there. That's actually really important, giving Andrew that upper viewpoint, but he's also really low on health.
Carl picks up a couple frags. They're only 4 players alive here for the defense, and actually incredibly low. They're trying to fall back. Cookie Jake does have 100% to try to defend them, but Velocity needs to get more forward than what they are right now. They need to try to secure ground, get that force off to try to leapfrog them. But I guess Skis is only at 75%, so they're not that far away. Marmalou going in alone, has to be careful going for the 1v1 against Sai, but a little bit questionable. Maybe needed to back off there. Banny's going to go for a play, takes down Andrew on the flank as Eric's pushing in on the front, using the Dragon's Fury to his full advantage, taking down Carl basically in a 1v1. Yeah, and he got dropped. Shamu's going to at least pick up one frag on the Blaze, but Banny is ready to go in here. Gets the flash onto him. He's going to take down Shamu. And now it's just Jarrett as well as the medic forward. And I mean, this is what Freytech do so well, is they usually just have like one of their players running on that flank doing damage. But at least they took down Boar there. Andrew does that, so 18 seconds of not having to worry about Sniper. That's going to give them some chances to push this, but they are basically going to need ×3 onto the cart if they're going to have any chance to do this. As Banny is going to take down, again, Andrew just going so aggressive.
Yeah, and Vipa bumped into somebody, so he got easily spotted out. Carl just barely surviving that engagement, but Sai going to finish him off with a pipe. Banny jumping around in Jarrett's face. Does go down. Jarrett launched upstairs, though. More pressure coming in, but
yeah, this is just looking not good for them, but they will at least get this 3rd point as Freytech is opting to play very safe. This is actually doable. I thought Freytech was going to put up a little bit more of a fight there, but they're just going to back up, get the Uber charge up. A very aggressive sentry gun. Actually, I was going to say Eric needs to move that back if they're going to have a chance. Blaze is sitting in the map room, ready to make a flank play as needed. 59 seconds left. Both teams up at 100%. You kind of have time for a suicide wave, maybe, as Vipa on the spy class is trying to get himself into position. He's going to do just that. He doesn't have the cloak and dagger because that was banned by Froyo, so he can't just sit there. So that's going to hurt him a little bit more. Sai
just saw him as he decloaked and was hiding around the side there. It's going to be able to get a pistol kill on Boar. Banny goes down as well.
×3 onto the cart. This is what they need to do right now, but Blaze coming from behind again. The same game plan every single time, and he picks up a few frags. The sentry gun is up and having to be dealt with. Eric is going to ultimately have it be taken out as a ready recharge. It's just barely better, but Slemnish at 450 is so hard to deal with. Marmalou's going to come in on the flank, but he gets taken down there by Sai, and now it's Jarrett is going to be just taken out here, and the GGs are being called. And I mean, literally, Freytech does the same thing over and over again. They put a person in map room, they wait for the push to come in, they go for the flank, and they just destroy you on the backside. Having to deal with a sentry gun up front as well just makes you have to deal that much more damage, not to players. You know, I really think that if Velocity can learn something from Froyo's game plan about how they play, they'd literally be doing that much. But I don't think that they're drastically being out-DM'd, but Freytech just has that much better of a strategy. And I think in some ways it's because Freytech is not traditional to Highlander, that they actually these are not ways that typical Highlander strategies, but they also work more so because you have less players, because it's more dynamic, because it's a little bit more fresh in that way that you actually have that space to go move and find spaces to go to.
Well, and probably easier for them to execute those unorthodox strategies if they're not fighting dogma that players already have instilled in their brains. So I think probably the best example of that that I would think of is Eric's sentry positions on the first point, right? Because neither of those rounds was a traditional placement. He had the first sentry on that kind of forward placing rock, and what happened with that was, or maybe I'm not getting my, I think, sorry, not getting my engineers mixed up. Because I know that forward sentry basically, you know, meant that initial bomb couldn't find it. They had problems with it. His second sentry spot, where it was really far back, there was just no way that you're going to be able to get, you know, sniper pressure on it, or, you know, solely without really bombing in super far. And so they were bombing, expecting these sentries in these regular positions, and then they were just getting completely, you know, broken down by it. And there's probably some facets of the defense as well, but, you know, Velocity, whether it was a suicide or just a regular push, they were definitely having a lot of problems getting into last cleanly, you know, and still maintaining a, you know, Uber charge or maintaining their players or getting that pressured pop, you know, instead that they were just bleeding players basically without progress.
Yeah, I mean, it just is not quite there, and you have Banny who's just kind of like running on the flank, and even when he's not playing heel heavy, he's just finding those little spaces. He's seeing when the enemy team is not looking. He's going straight for the snipers. Andrew's trying to find angles. And maybe that's just it. Is like if here's the things is like, okay, if they like to do flank plays during pushes, then you need to make sure someone clears out map room before you guys go in for a push, or you need to be looking for that. If your sniper is getting picked because he's alone, maybe you need to sit someone down with them. Maybe you run engineer on offense and you just put a mini sentry next to him. At the very least, that would stop Banny from being able to push onto him, right? Then the engineer can go push the cart, but that way you have protection for Andrew. The big thing that I see with Velocity is that they're an incredibly good team when their strategy works, but as soon as what they know doesn't work, there's never any adapting. And this is the other thing too, is that you see with teams where they just instant ready up. I don't understand this. I never understand this mentality of just going for the instant ready up. I know people, they want to get to the next games, but just take literally 3 minutes. Talk amongst your team. What were they doing? What can we be doing differently? Usually the instant ready up always is a sign of the losing team is just going to continue losing. It's incredibly rare for a team to come back with that, because if you're losing, it's for a reason. And if you don't talk about what that reason is, well, it's going to be a really hard time to change it, and that's what this format is. And I think this is why some teams struggle to adapt to it, because it's not static. It's not 4 of the 9 classes playing 90% of the time. It's not 9 of the 9 classes playing 100% of the time. It truly is a conversation constantly throughout the game. But if you're not having that conversation as a team or with yourself, it's going to work against you. In Freyrtech, Eric he clearly gets it. He understands how to flex and when to do it, and what times and what's good. But I still see that struggling with other teams where they just get so stuck, and I hope that they use this as an opportunity as they move into the playoffs here. This is going to put Velocity going into second place. So they are going to play in the semifinal round against whoever wins the 3rd and 4th place match. But I really, truly hope they learn from this, because I don't think that Freyrtech just had a crazy better out DM battle. I mean, if we look at that first round, if I started to go on a rant here, but if you look at that first round, they pushed Freyrtech all the way back to last in about 4 minutes. And even in that last round, Freyrtech put up a 5-minute and 10-second time. And if they literally would have had and they put the cart 40 seconds away with a minute left on the clock. So they were right there. They were right there with Freyrtech. But it's just their defense is just not good. They're playing too traditional to what Highlander is. They're not being spread out enough. They're not using their flex classes good enough. Their soldiers suiciding too much. It's these just little things. If they can fix them, they can be right in there. But if they don't take the time to have that conversation, they're going to keep performing like this, and they're going to keep being the second place team.
Yeah, and I definitely think that there's synergy there with Vipa, or kind of just their whole team. And I know I've run into those issues in TF2, and just having your whole team on the same page is just so important, and you just can't really undervalue it. And I think with Vipa and those plays, there's kind of just this lack of full understanding what the situation really was, where he's going spy and he's trying to get behind and get a stab, but then his team just didn't really have the power to hold back Froyo, and Froyo rotates really well, so he just didn't really have an opportunity to break in. But that might have been a situation where he really needed to go engineer, because that gives them a little bit more of that pushback, that gives them a little bit more of that counter against Banny. And that also just, straight up slows the clock down, which it is all about. Because, yeah, you have to imagine if there was 20 more seconds on either one of those sets, either one of those sets could have gone their way if they just had 20 more seconds of breathing time, to set things up. And I think definitely, Velocity, it did, we are talking a lot about Vipa in his flex position, but, they did have some issues there of, knowing whether they were pushing, whether he should be on Pyro, whether he should be on Engineer, and he should be on Spy. And again, you talk about players' comforts on things and their ability to adapt. And, maybe he went back and forth and he felt like Spy wasn't really working. They had a few little sort of rough moments on Engineer. Maybe he wasn't really comfortable on Engineer, but then felt like he was needed to force the Pyro. It's sort of tough to say what was going on in the team's state of mind and all their discussions, but They needed to get more of a solid defense rolling, and just be a little bit more cautious and careful with their offense. Get a little bit more established before they really commit.
So just real quick here before we wrap it up for the night. By the way, I just want to do a quick plug, rgl.gg/pugs. If you guys want to have a chance at shaming either of these teams, coming in there, having some fun. It's a mixed group. What we do is we balance the games based on ELO. You can be brand new to the game or incredibly good. The matches tend to be great. rgl.gg/pugs. Join our Discord group today and jump into our pugs. They are a ton of fun. But looking at these logs here, I was talking about Shamu before the game. He actually did really well for his team this time. He top fragged, and actually Andrew top fragged for his team as well in this final round with 12, actually out-fragging Boar by about 3 kills. So really not too bad. I mean, I don't think Andrew is that much. I didn't think, when Boar did 20 frags to Andrew's 10, I don't think that really is a sign of how good they actually are. I think, Andrew and Boar are right there. Boar might have the edge, but still, I think Andrew on a good day in good moments can definitely get his own. But overall, it's just, pretty much everything after Shamu and Andrew, it's just red. It's just all Froyotech for days. Sai making me eat my words. He had a really good game today, played really well around his team, consistently had a good amount of frags as well as putting up the damage. And just overall Froyotech, I mean, it's just, if there was that's the thing is, I guess to the point you're saying is if it's really just, it's not so much, I don't think Velocity's offense was bad. It's just their defense sucked. If they could have put, as you were saying, just 60 seconds more on the clock, this game might have been different for both games. If they just had that little bit of extra time, and I think it shows their skill that they were able to push so aggressively on offense. But looking at the stats, anything that's kind of standing out to you? Any storylines you're seeing from them?
Well, definitely Boar just having ridiculous damage. That was a little bit more in the first set. The second set, you can see that it's a lot better. In the end as well, Slemnish did perform excellently on Heavy Weapons Guy. Being around your team and probably not taking as much damage to the face as Carl did. That was really helpful for him. Blaze got, maybe a little bit more shut down in that second half. Wasn't quite able to have as many huge impactful plays there. But, Blaze still always super helpful with just kind of keeping people guessing and his quick jumps in. So, as well as, these higher soldiers, sometimes they just jump in and they jump out. And, versus just jumping in and just dying and not even getting anything. And that can be a big distraction. And that certainly was at least some little difference between Blaze and Marmalou there.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing I thought was really interesting, we kind of talked about Banny. Just playing on the flank, particularly on defense, just really focusing on Andrew. And, maybe Velocity needs to put Andrew a little bit of support on offense. Andrew died 8 times. 4 of those deaths were to Banny. Or another way to put this, Banny got 11 frags. 4 of those frags were to Banny. So almost 30% of the frags that Banny got that round were purely on the sniper, which kind of is a really unusual stat if you think about a scout killing a sniper. Usually the sniper's far enough back not to deal with it. But because Andrew was consistently playing on the flank, on offense in particular, he was able to be picked apart by Banny, and that's one of the reasons they got slowed down. But still, actually, having said that, Velocity still had a pretty good offense. It's just those final pushes where they really struggled because Froyotech was doing such a good job of kind of just clearing up the flanks and stuff like that. So as we wrap it up here, everybody, thank you so much for coming out here tonight. eXtine, any shout-outs you want to give here before we cut off the cast?
I guess just a quick shout out to Lucky Luke. I still have to do the commentary, but he gave me the September top 10 plays of the month ready to go. Shout out to my boys, the Portland Burnsiders. We got an ESCA match later tonight. I hope we do well. And I got a video in the works with another announcement that ties in with the Burnsiders, but also a big personal step. So announcement and about an announcement. You guys should get hyped for it, though. So.
Awesome. Well, a lot of stuff in your wheelhouse. As you guys know, we got more casts going on this week. We should be having the 4th against 5th place match. This is going to be Generations versus the name is Ascent. Ascent, who's been disappointing so far this season. They're going to be trying to fight their way into the playoffs. So they are currently sitting in the 5th place team. Generations, like a mid to high plat team going up against an ESC invite team. It's really curious to see who will take that 4th place spot and get a guaranteed spot into the playoffs, and also get into that prize pool, get into that money, which is what we all play for, right? So that'll be really exciting. The current time we don't know, but keep your guys' eyes on rgl.gg. We'll have articles and information about that. So make sure you tune into that. I'll be at this very same channel. As always, make sure you follow X Television, XTV Esports here, and also check out X Television over on YouTube, where all of the VODs get put up. So thank you everybody for coming out here tonight. Make sure you toss a heart out into chat for our boy Nicel. Always doing such a wonderful job on the camera work. So great, even when we don't have matches like we did yesterday, but he's still there for me like always. So thank you so much, Nicel, as always, doing fantastic work. And I think that'll be it. So thank you everybody for coming out here tonight, and I'll see you next time.
Peace out.